Hello. All right, go ahead and find your seat. I'm going to talk at you for approximately a whole 6 minutes, and then I'm going to give it back to Wendy. Cool. Okay, so I'm going to talk a little bit about self-awareness, managing your expectations at camp, and a few other things. So, as you know, camp is a short-term missions trip, and it's kind of awesome because we get to go and provide for children in our very own community, which is amazing. And RFK camp is different from every other camp because it's not only fun, but it's full of learning activities. The greatest impact, the kids that attend this camp, they'll be impacted most by your love and your presence all week. Like, what a great opportunity we have to minister to this group that is within our own community, and I think that is huge. So we kind of talked about it a little bit, too, when we were talking about all the other things. When you come to camp, I think that we all want to make a huge impact on a child's life, and we do, but sometimes that looks a little bit different depending on who your camper is, right? Like Crystal said, her camper seemed pretty indifferent towards her the first year at camp. And like Chris said, his camper was trying to distance himself, and so that it didn't feel in that moment like you were making a deep connection with your camper. But throughout that entire week at camp, you kept showing up for them and showing that you would always be there and that you're present for them. So at the end of camp, I know we all want to say, man, I made a really big difference, and I've grown this huge connection with this camper, but that's not always what we get to do. We get to say at the end of camp, I showed this child an immense amount of love, and I showed up every single day for them, and I was present, and I was available, and I got to be a great adult in their life for a whole week, right? So sometimes our expectations aren't going to match up with the outcome, but we know that we were able to provide that, right? In the manual, my favorite line, or there's like a bullet point, it says, your most difficult challenge is making a difference in a camper's life, or the most difficult challenge in making a difference in a camper's life is loving them, not just managing them. So throughout that whole week, you're not going to just manage your camper, you're going to provide them with all of that love, right, and make them feel special. You're not just going to be managing the behaviors or managing their time, you're going to be there and providing that love to them. When we're at camp, we want to make sure that we're both physically and mentally available to our campers. By a show of hands, how many of you have been in like a work meeting or you're with your partner and they're just kind of talking and you're just kind of like, yeah, right? You're present, but that's about all you're given. You're not really listening or asking any questions or engaging in a conversation with them. So with our campers, we want to try to not only go, we want to make sure we're asking questions, engaging, smiling at them, making eye contact, really showing them that they're valued through our physical presence with them, touching them, providing that touch arm around them during those moments where we get to listen. But then, too, mentally, and I know that we can all talk about this, by the end of camp, we're all exhausted, for sure, 100%. We've given everything. We want to make sure that we're also mentally there and we're listening to them. We talked about matching their energy. So when we're emotionally and mentally available, we're also matching that energy and we're being very present in that moment with that camper. Another bullet point I really liked in our manual was pace yourself, right? We don't want to give everything on Monday. We want to be able to keep up that energy level all the way through the week to make all of those moments matter through the entire time. So yes, make sure that you're providing rest for yourself and pacing yourself, knowing that it's going to be a week full of activity, right? At camp, we have to make sure, I think Becca said this, that we've all kind of experienced some trauma in our life. So we need to make sure that we're also taking care of ourselves. So Becca talked about this, the Dean of Men and Dean of Women. If you're feeling overwhelmed at any point or feel like you need additional support, please be sure to reach out quickly. But then too, and again, Becca already said this, we're going to be empathetic towards each other, right? So when we say, I'm sorry, that doesn't mean that we've caused pain or asking for forgiveness. We're saying, I too have felt pain, and I'm opening myself up to connection with you. Like, I'm sorry that happened, or I'm sorry, but I'm here, and I'm ready to make that connection with you. So when we say that to each other, great, we're opening that connection, but we can also say that to our campers, right? If they're feeling overwhelmed or if anything happens, we're saying, I'm sorry, and opening up connection, like, tell me more about that, or I want to work through it, tell me more about what you're feeling. Empathy is huge, and it's super powerful, and I think some of you, we've shown the Brene Brown video before, where she talks about, and I've said it too, you're sitting in it with them, you're feeling it with them. It's not feeling sorry for them. You're in that experience with them so that they understand that you are also present and willing to connect. Another bullet point in this manual that I loved is all of us together are more effective than any one of us can be individually, right? Royal Family is very much a family, and we've made impacts on children's lives together. At no point has it been one of us alone, and we could never do it alone. Together we are powerful. And I did an activity a while ago at camp where I had some tennis balls, and I had Matt help me. And Matt stood there, and I threw him a tennis ball one at a time, and he was able to catch each one. And then I threw all of them at him at once, and he was only able to catch probably a handful. So at camp, right, if we lobbed some easy balls at you, you'd be able to catch them. But then all at once, like Wednesday when you're tired, your camper doesn't want to do activities, you've ran out of water, you're dehydrated yourself, make sure that you're reaching out, and we're all in this together, right? Not only, so like I said, we're family, our relationships with each other and the empathy that we show each other is also something our campers need to see. They need to see that we care for each other and that we're also, like we view ourselves as family, like we don't just care for them. So in front of our campers, we want to build each other up in order to encourage connection as our family, the Royal Family. We don't want to discourage engagement with all of us as one. Okay? Any questions? That section is section 2. It's really, really awesome. I definitely recommend you read it, like the rest of your manual. But that one in particular is really good.